He walked the halls quietly, just a janitor, just another face. The students laughed, the teachers ignored him until someone unzipped his jumpsuit and uncovered something that silenced an entire school. A tattoo wasn't needed, because sewn inside his shirt was the truth no one dared to imagine. This isn't a story about medals. This is a story about what happens when silence carries more weight than words ever could. Have you ever known someone like this? Someone who served without ever asking for recognition? Let their name live in the comments. Honor them. Subscribe to Unsung Valor stories for powerful stories about forgotten heroes who never asked to be remembered, but deserve to be. If this story made you pause, share it. Because maybe we're all walking past someone who quietly changed the world. It was a Veterans Week at Oak Ridge High School, a suburban campus with shiny halls, proud banners, and exactly zero real understanding of what the word service truly meant. The student body was preparing for the annual Heroes of Our Nation assembly. Teachers instructed students to clap politely, wear red, white, and blue, and perhaps write a few shallow thank you cards to soldiers they never met. What most students didn't know was that the man who mopped their halls at 6 a.m., the quiet, stoop-shouldered janitor in the gray jumpsuit, had worn a different uniform decades earlier. One not made of polyester and stained gloves, one made of Kevlar and soaked in dust, blood, and memory. His name was Leonard Briggs, 68 years old, kept his head down, always early, never spoke unless spoken to. He kept the school clean, the boiler running, and the snow off the entrance ramp in winter. Most just called him Lenny the Mop Guy, but not everyone liked him. To Coach Darrelson, the overcompensating football coordinator with a God complex, Lenny was dead weight with a paycheck. To Vice Principal Lane, he was an aging expense on a tight budget. To students, just background noise, until the incident. It happened 2 days before the assembly. Lenny had stayed late to fix a jammed pipe near the gymnasium. While he worked, a group of seniors, led by Tyler Grant, the quarterback with a 3.1 GPA bought in arrogance, wandered in with phones out, filming a TikTok prank for their Vet Week special. Tyler pointed to Lenny and laughed. "Yo, look, it's Sergeant Scrub-a-Lot. Careful, soldier. Don't slip on your own honor." The others burst out laughing as Lenny turned slowly, eyes steady. "You boys need help with something?" "Yeah," Tyler grinned. "Can you salute the mop for us, war hero?" One of the boys grabbed the handle and mockingly spun it like a rifle, while another cued military music from his phone. Lenny didn't speak, just tightened the valve on the pipe and stood up, wiping grease from his hands. He looked at them not with anger, but with the kind of sadness that makes people uncomfortable. "Go home, boys. You've got no idea what you're playing with." Tyler stepped closer. "Nah, I think you're just a bitter old man in a jumpsuit." Then, with zero warning, Tyler ripped the zipper down on Lenny's work uniform, exposing a tight shirt underneath. Sewn inside the inner lining was a medal of honor. The room fell silent, not because they knew what it meant, but because something in Lenny's eyes shifted. Not rage, not shame, but a cold, final kind of silence. He zipped the suit back up, picked up the mop, and walked out. The next morning, Principal Harris called Lenny into his office. "Leonard, there was a situation last night. One of the parents saw the video before it was taken down. You've made the news." Lenny sat still. "They're saying you're wearing a fake Medal of Honor. You understand that's a felony?" It was like a hammer blow. After everything, the fire, the blood, the screaming in the dark jungles of Kunar, the day he carried 2 dying squad mates on his back for miles with shrapnel in his side. This is what they said now? Fake? He didn't even want the medal in the first place. The morning after the video leaked, Oak Ridge High looked like a town caught between guilt and gossip. The video of the janitor with the medal had already been deleted by Tyler Grant's friend, but not before it had spread through the halls like wildfire. Text threads, Snapchats, a few screenshots. No one knew what it meant exactly, but everyone had seen it. A janitor, a medal, a moment that felt too real to laugh at. Some kids made jokes, but their voices were quieter now. Others searched online. Can janitors get medals of honor? Is it illegal to fake one? How many living Medal of Honor recipients are there? One answer came fast. Fewer than 70. All of them known. All of them documented. No Leonard Briggs. Principal Harris sat behind her desk, fingers steepled, reading an email from the Pentagon Public Affairs Office. She had requested verification of Lenny's name, date of service, and any Valor awards received. What she got back was not what she expected. R.E. Leonard Briggs, confirmed. Medal of Honor recipient. Service record classified in part. Special Forces Operations Command, Southeast Asia, 1970 to 1975. Valor citation available upon request. DoD recommends deference in all public interactions. Medal awarded under restricted status, declassified in 1991. She read it twice, then again. This man had not just earned the medal. He'd done it under black operations that were once buried in redacted ink. That same day, Lenny didn't come to work. Not because he was afraid, but because he had seen this story before. A man shows his scar, and suddenly the people who ignored him want to control the narrative. They don't apologize, they reframe. Meanwhile, Jackson Ellis, a sophomore who always kept quiet in the back of class, had been the first to recognize the symbol. His father was a Marine, his grandfather, Army, Vietnam. He knew what a dagger and lightning bolt over an eagle crest meant. It was worn only by MAC-VSOG operators, the most elite and invisible of the Vietnam-era commandos. And now that he looked closer, he remembered something. Lenny had once stopped him in the parking lot after practice. His tire was flat. Lenny patched it up and refused money. But Jackson remembered his grip. Firm. The way he scanned the street before crouching down, like instinct, not habit, like someone who once moved through enemy territory at night. The next morning, an emergency staff meeting was called. Vice Principal Lane, red-faced and sweating, announced the school would be releasing a statement. We value all veterans. There was a misunderstanding. Mr. Briggs is on leave while we verify certain details. But Jackson wasn't having it. He stood up in the middle of the cafeteria during lunch and tapped a spoon against his tray until people looked. Then he projected his voice, steady and clear. Y'all remember when they laughed at Mr. Briggs? That man carried a Medal of Honor under his shirt, and they treated him like trash. And now that it's real, the school wants to verify it instead of owning what they did. Students turned. Teachers froze. He wasn't done. We've got banners that say, "Thank you, veterans." But the guy cleaning vomit in the hallway earned that medal crawling through jungle fire and dragging wounded men on his back. And all we gave him was mockery. The room was silent. Someone clapped, then another. Then the whole cafeteria roared, not for Jackson, but for the truth finally being spoken aloud. That afternoon, the principal locked her door and refused interviews. The district board received over 100 calls from parents and veterans groups. Someone had forwarded the Pentagon reply to a local news station. It aired at 6 p.m. Local school janitor confirmed Medal of Honor recipient, mocked by students, ignored by staff. And the town lit up. The next Monday, Leonard Briggs returned to Oak Ridge High School before dawn. Just like always. Same steel-toed boots, same quiet gait, same thermos of black coffee in his left hand. His uniform was pressed, clean, simple, gray, zipped up to the collar this time, with no metal in sight. He walked into the maintenance hallway expecting the same mop bucket, the same forgotten broom closet. But something was different. Right there, Next to the faculty lounge stood a table, small, quiet, purposeful, draped in a folded American flag, and behind it, a glass case holding a replica of the Medal of Honor. Below it, a plaque etched in polished brass, for the one who served with silence, who taught us all what honor really means. Sergeant Leonard Briggs, MACV-SOG. Lenny froze. Around the table stood a circle of students, none in costume, no fanfare, just solemn eyes and straight backs. Jackson Ellis stepped forward, a fresh seal patch stitched to his ROTC shirt sleeve. "Sir, we didn't come here to apologize. You've earned more than that. So we came to listen." Lenny blinked slowly, mouth parting just enough to let out a shallow breath. His fingers curled around the thermos like a man trying to ground himself in the moment. "You boys don't owe me a thing." "Maybe not," Jackson said, "but we owe it to the next guy to do better." That day, the school's entire Veterans Week assembly changed. No pre-written student poems, no marching band blaring through the bleachers, just a stage, a single chair, and one man who never wanted a microphone. Lenny stepped up, not in dress blues, but in that same worn jumpsuit. He looked out at the crowd, students, teachers, parents. Even Tyler Grant sat in the front row, head lowered, his father, a National Guard colonel, beside him. Lenny said only this: "I wasn't the fastest. I wasn't the strongest. But when the shooting started, I didn't run. I stayed. That's what service means." Then he sat down. The crowd stood up. And for the first time in the school's history, no one clapped, not out of disrespect, but because no one wanted to break the silence that man had lived with for 40 years. The story didn't end there. Within a week, news vans appeared. A retired SEAL commander flew in and confirmed Leonard's record, details still sealed but respected. Former squad members left comments online. One simply wrote, "He carried us. We were ghosts. He gave us weight." A week later, the Oak Ridge School Board announced the renaming of the main hall, the Briggs Corridor of Quiet Valor. Tyler Grant, in a letter read aloud by Jackson, admitted, "I didn't know what real strength looked like. Turns out it wears work boots and doesn't need to shout." He would later apply to the Air Force, not to erase what he did, but to grow from it. One spring afternoon, Lenny came to work and found something new beside the memorial case, a notebook filled with handwritten questions from students. What does courage feel like? Did you ever feel afraid? How do we honor people without hurting them first? He didn't answer in speeches. He answered with oil-stained hands, fixing the gym door at 5 a.m., with a smile and nod at every kid who said, "Well, good morning, Mr. Briggs," with silence that finally meant respect, not invisibility. When he passed away 5 years later, they buried him with full honors. 6 students, all in uniform, carried his casket. Jackson Ellis delivered the eulogy, and carved into the memorial stone outside the school were the final words Leonard had once scribbled on a sticky note and quietly left in the janitor's office. "Being remembered isn't the goal. Serving quietly, that's enough." He never asked for applause, never gave a speech. He just showed up every day with oil on his hands and fire buried in his past. And when the truth came out, it wasn't for revenge. It was for one simple thing: to remind us what quiet strength really looks like. They mocked him once, but they stood for him in the end. Because real service doesn't wear a spotlight. It leaves footprints, deep, silent, and unforgettable. Have you ever known someone like this? Someone who served without ever asking for recognition? Let their name live in the comments. Honor them. Subscribe to Unsung Valor Stories for powerful stories about forgotten heroes who never asked to be remembered, but deserve to be. If this story made you pause, share it. Because maybe we're all walking past someone who quietly changed the world,